Namaste. My name is Timothy Halloran. I am an astrologer. You can purchase astrology readings from my website at the link below. Today is Wednesday, October 18th, 2017. There's a lot happening. If you've got ears, eyes, senses, you're likely feeling the big shift. It's a powerful time. There's a lot of healing. There can be some potential discomfort through which this healing is happening, and a lot of potential. Again, this is about empowerment. This is about transformation. This is about change in a deep, profound way. And so, as in all of these videos, we're talking about the significance, the symbols, and the meaning of this time, not just the what, but the why. And, of course, there's a new moon tomorrow. October 19th, new moon, 26 degrees Libra, around what time? 3:12 p.m. on the east coast of the U.S. Any new moon is a period of transition. It is the completion and the birth of a new lunar cycle. So I first want to begin by explaining this lunar cycle because it's important and it's what these videos sort of revolve around. Each new moon sows a seed that carries through the entire month up until the next new moon. And so, today, the day before our new moon in Libra, we are completing and wrapping up the last lunar cycle that began in Virgo. Now, I want to use this as an example to explain the beauty and the potency of this period, because the last whole month has very much been centered upon healing, with the prior new moon in Virgo, which is already about healing, being opposite to Chiron. Then we had Venus and Mars conjunct on the day of the new moon in Virgo, on October 5th, setting a brand new cycle between Venus and Mars, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, our values, our willpower, how we are orienting our own physical energy, and how it's being shared with others in such a way to honor our values, our truth, what makes us feel good, what we cherish. Then, Venus opposed Chiron, October 10th, healing the divine feminine, healing relationships, and now Mars has been opposite to Chiron. Exact on the 15th, but really going on this next week, this last week. I did want to mention, also, Mars opposite Chiron can be experienced as a sense of lethargy, or too much energy, or going back and forth really quickly, or reactivity. Again, it can be a frustration. I don't have enough energy, I have too much energy, and this is, again, the healing of the masculine Martian drive. And so what we've been dealing with the whole last month has been a lot of deep digging up, healing, purifying, adjusting. The Virgo healing function is that which points out what is not perfect. That way awareness can be brought to those places and adjustments can be made. And during a Virgonian period, it is easy for us to feel oftentimes inadequate or imperfect or broken, like we need fixing, because that process is going on. Now, all of this Chiron being thrown in the mix just really amps up that healing nature of this time, where particularly Chiron opposite Mars can be like the surgeon with the scalpel, going in, chiseling out, transforming and healing through purging out old toxins, inadequacies, fears, worthlessness. All of these patterns may be coming out and up to the surface so they can be seen and adjusted, changed. And it's not necessarily a comfortable process, bleeding out the old, purging out the old, and it is noble. It's making space for the new. It is a healing function which leads us into newfound strength, new relationship dynamics that work even better, that are more harmonious, more loving, and so this has already been the endeavor for the last month. Now, for those of you who are on social media, you are probably familiar with the Me Too social campaign that was really successful in terms of spreading the message that there is essentially all-pervasive abuse of women and the feminine. And I wanted to give that example to acknowledge the beauty of the astrology. If you're in tune with the astrology, this telling of nature is always happening, because the Me Too campaign occurs while the moon is in Virgo, the last several days, wrapping up this last month of healing, purifying, transforming the divine feminine, the divine masculine. Mars is our sex drive, how it's being oriented, how it's being spent. And Virgo is the conditioning that we often are imposed with. Oh, you're a man, this is your obligation, this is your role. Virgo is our role, our function. Oh, you're a woman, this is your role. And oftentimes, I mean, almost all the time in our culture, in our world, our society, women are conditioned with shame and inadequacy. Oh, this is your place. You're supposed to please the man. It's a man's world. It's got to be perfect what you're doing. You've got to look perfect. You've got to be this level of beauty standard. And if you're complaining or you're expressing your negativity, we're going to shove you away. We're going to put you to the side. This can be the wound of the feminine, where the healing of the feminine is taking place. Whereas the masculine oftentimes experiences themes of guilt. Oh, it is a man's world. I'm responsible. I have been conditioned into a world that does not teach me how to respect women or use my own sexual energy correctly. Lord knows I never knew how to use my sexual energy. It was never taught. It was never shown to me. And so this can be the healing of the divine masculine. Guilt. I failed. I haven't done enough. I am less than. I'm not strong enough. I'm not noble enough. I'm not pure enough. I have let down the feminine. I have wounded the feminine, so on and so forth. And this is where the healing of the masculine can happen. Now, it's an important point to make that we are all both masculine and feminine, irrelevant of your physical gender. Yes, there are physiological differences between men and women, but particularly when you study astrology for a great amount of time, you quickly realize that that physiological difference doesn't say as much as the energetic, emotional, spiritual. Everybody is completely unique. And we all have feminine, masculine, and it can get complicated. You know, our own inner masculine can be creating friction with the inner feminine. We can be flip-flopping between guilt and shame. This is the healing process that's happening as we purge out and clear out this several lifetimes, this several generations, this several thousands of years of patriarchy, of dog-eat-dog, fight-to-survive world. This is your role, this is your place. Do it or be ashamed. Do it or be humiliated, so on and so forth. And so, profound amounts of healing to the divine feminine and masculine as the Me Too campaign is happening. And we have a movement into Scorpio. Jupiter just went into Scorpio October 10th. I put out a video last week all about, and there's going to be plenty more coming because it's a boatload of stuff with Jupiter and Scorpio for the next 13 months. And by the way, you can watch the video below, but the first 15-second intro is just meant to be a joke. It's not literal what Jupiter and Scorpio is. The other 30 minutes of the video, we're talking about what it actually means. So Jupiter goes into Scorpio October 10th. Mercury goes into Scorpio yesterday and is conjunct Jupiter today. And what is Mercury and Jupiter just going into Scorpio? It's disclosure. It's spilling the beans. This is how I deeply feel. And it's messy, and it's confusing. And again, Scorpio is about change, transformation, illumination, and the potential is healing by bringing our light of awareness, our consciousness down into the wounds, into the pain, into the areas that need to be adjusted and transformed. And so Mercury, Jupiter in Scorpio today, holy moly, we are all like living detectives with X-ray vision that is penetrating into some of the deepest, most underlying conditionings and situations in our own personal lives, in our relationships, and in the world at large. And this is just initiating. These next couple of weeks, this is when we're being introduced to Jupiter in Scorpio. And again, this is taking us through the next 13 months. Our awareness going into the unknown, expanding, illuminating the sexual nature, passions, unconscious conditioning. You know, Scorpio's the mystery, the bottom of the barrel, the majority of the iceberg beneath the water. Mercury is our mind. Jupiter is our awareness, is illuminating the depths, the dark, mysterious ocean. And so, profound realization and change, and it continues. As tomorrow we have our new moon in Libra, and this new moon in Libra is falling on the exact day that the sun is opposite to Uranus. So this new moon is exactly opposite to Uranus and also quincunx to Chiron. As I've said in all of these videos, all these new moons are aspecting Chiron, which means this whole period is a Chironic, healing, deep, powerful, profound time of actualizing medicine, of moving beyond the old. 2 new moons ago was the solar eclipse in Leo, also quincunx to Chiron. Now we have another moon, quincunx to Chiron. Have these not been profoundly healing periods? That solar eclipse has been followed by hurricanes, earthquakes, forest fires in California, here in the United States, and we think that's not tied to this healing period. It's all tied together. And it is a healing period. It's not punishment. It's not the final judgment. It's not God throwing fireballs at us because we've fucked up. It is our awareness being brought to the places that need healing. And so this is happening on every single level. And it continues because the new moon in Libra is going to take it into our relationships even more. This next month is really about finding equality, balance, harmony, and peace, coming out of this period of digging up our insecurities, our inadequacies. Now it's entering a period of now what? What do we do? And the opposition to Uranus is a gift that's asking us to innovate, invent, push the boundaries of what is known, and break through into the undiscovered territories and realms of the future. This is about reinventing our relationships. This is about reinventing our relationship to the other. What is your role? What is my role? And how can we evolve these roles to be the most limitless and liberated expression of who we truly are as human beings? And so this is Libra. Libra is the scales, balance, harmony, equality. We're balancing the masculine and the feminine within ourselves, in our partnerships, in the world. So we can open up and start to share, and through sharing and through reflection, bouncing our ideas off of the other, we can begin to co-create and invent the solutions that we need to in order to push things forward. Because again, this is needed. We have to keep finding the actual tools and techniques. You know, it's like, again, the Virgo time, all of this healing, the Me Too campaign is this issue exists. And now we are acknowledging it. But now what? What are the groups, the tools, the collaborative endeavors, the humanitarian movements that are needed to keep the ball rolling, to keep us moving into the future? In which case human beings can be more equal, more balanced, more fair, and more free than we have ever been in our prior history by being made aware of all of these dynamics. And really owning, this is what I love, this is what I need, this is who I am as an individual. Uranus in Aries is like really discovering our total unique individuality, that wild eccentric that is different and special compared to everybody else in the world, needs to somehow become integrated with our relationships, how we are connecting and sharing in a way that's not sacrificing our own individuality, and is not suppressing the individuality of the other simultaneously. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Well, you may have been realizing that there's a lot of work to be done here because that's the state of our age, our world, our situation, so on and so forth. And so the real beauty of this next month is, you know, the sun is going to push into Scorpio on the 23rd, just after this new moon. And so it's Scorpio time. Scorpio is seeing the bottom of the barrel, owning our potential to be catalysts of change in the world, being made aware of what's beneath the surface, expressing our secrets, getting it out on the table, getting down to business so we can change in the deepest, most profound way. Scorpio is a sign of mastery that initiates us into the mastery of our soul. the full spectrum experiences that shape us through life, the good, the bad, the ugly, is the tumbler of Scorpio that shapes us into the mastery of our soul that is transcendental, that is fearless, that isn't afraid of the next winter time, that isn't afraid of the next period of healing, that is always yearning to expand more into potential, into power, and to actualizing what is the actual nature to be a soul. What is our God-given nature and potential? And so it is powerful, it's profound, and it's very mystical as well. You know, really seeing deeply. Scorpio's a feminine sign. We're getting into the water, the depths, intimacy with other people. What does it really feel like to know each other as souls? And we can know each other on a deeper level than we ever had before, by opening up, by doing the investigating, by doing the initiations of the new, and, you know, way paving new possibilities. And so, Scorpio period is happening, and then Venus is in Libra since a few days ago on the 14th. Mars moves into Libra in a few days on the 22nd. And it's like we get to continue collaborating, sharing, forming communities, forming groups, show and telling what we're actually feeling and what we're actually processing in order to do this continued soul work, this evolution of our relationships, this finding the deeper significance of what it means to be a human being, of what it means to be a soul. And so this is like, you know, this new moon in Libra, opposite to Uranus, quincunx to Chiron, is like form humanitarian movements, form help groups, social groups, women's circles, male clubs. This, whatever it is, it's needed for us to come together in a deep way with other souls that are on the same wavelength as us, ready and gung-ho to plunge into and do that similar work that we may be doing. And again, it may be different if you're in a male body, in a female body, and it may not be different if you're in a male body or a female body. There is no one size fits all. But still, we are all being made aware of what's very deep in our heart, in our soul, and what blockages are there, how to move through them, how to overcome them, and we need help. We can't do it completely on our own. We do need the reflections. We do need to bounce our ideas off of other people. We do need the insights that a second pair of eyes, or a third pair of eyes, or a fourth pair of eyes brings us. Libra needs multiple reflections. It can't even be just one reflection. You might have a wonderful marriage or a wonderful partnership, but that is just one objective perspective looking at you and you looking back at them, and we may need more objective perspectives. We need more angles, more viewpoints, more unique, you know, vantage points, and that's Libra, you know. It's continue to open, continue to share. How can I bring my heart out in a profound and deep way? And we're all feeling motivated. I mean, we can really feel this push and this opening. And this is like Jupiter being in just the first degrees of Scorpio. Is like, let's initiate this. Let's get deeper. Let's get more mystical. Jupiter and Mercury are trine to Neptune the next several weeks. It's this ethereal, dissociative, seeing beneath the surface, getting dreams that are mystical, symbols, downloads of information that are deep, that are profound, are informing us from the bottom up, from the root chakra up. Our past lives, our ancestors, those on the other side. I mean, these messages and this information can be coming through. And Mercury and Jupiter, the detective, seeing with that penetrative X-ray vision, seeing into the other, the bottom of the barrel. It's not a time to avoid. It's not a time to escape. It's time to run in the opposite direction, you know. It's like men have to admit that we feel guilty and not just hide in our guilt. Women have to admit that they feel shameful and move forward, you know. And I'm not pressuring, you know, it's a graceful, gentle healing process. It's not about forcing yourself where you're not comfortable. I am more so acknowledging that these are the issues, these are the areas that are being brought up, and the potential is to continue in that endeavor in this direction. Now, interestingly, on the day of this new moon, asteroid Ceres, the mother-nurturing emotional asteroid, is square to Palacetina, the brilliant goddess of wisdom, of objective perspective, of Akashic records, wisdom of the truth, you know, holding the book of law, Lady Justice, Palacetina. And it's like that Mercury-Jupiter penetrative nature is seeing, is studying, is observing, but what? We have to bridge that with our feeling, emotional nature. Because the whole healing and uplifting of the divine feminine is to reintegrate that feeling-based nature, which makes us feel as a prerequisite safe to express our bottom-of-the-barrel stuff, to share our inadequacies, our fears, our conditions, our, things that we feel guilty or ashamed about, where we've felt like we've been a victim or a perpetrator. We have to feel safe first before we can express these things. So again, what's the purpose of forming social groups, women's circles, is to create that feeling of emotional nurturance and security as a prerequisite, and then join that with the objective, masculine, communicative, rational process. Because this isn't just a male-female body prejudice. It exists on every level, even the energetic level. We may unconsciously look up to our fathers more than our mothers, and we may therefore unconsciously put our own achievement needs above our own feeling good and nurturance needs. I mean, these are the patterns. They go very, very deep, and this is stuff that we can be aware of and include in our own research and exploring the unknown and discovering the buried treasure and mysteries way, way down below. And again, profound healing time. Not necessarily a fun and games, throw a party and feel completely liberated and naked and free time. Saturn is square to Chiron. This Saturn square Chiron has been going on for the last year. And the exact final square is coming up on November 2nd. The Saturn-Chiron Square, which we've been talking about, is this type of rite of passage, initiation. Look at your world, Saturn. Your world, your culture, your society, what you were born into, what you were imprisoned by, that you didn't have a choice with. Authorities impressed you with this. Older girls said this is what it means to be a girl. Older boys said this is what it means to be a boy. This is your role in the world, is to be a worker, is to be a machine. This is your obligation to the family. It's to self-sacrifice. It's to put yourself down. All of this, this is what it means to be a religious person. You never be selfish. You put yourself last. You starve yourself, so on and so forth. And this Saturn-Chiron forces us to see the issues of our world, so that way healing can happen, again, by bringing our awareness to those places. And that's the rite of passage. That's the initiation. Look at your life and where is it connected to the story of the world. There is your healing path. There is your spiritual journey. There is your pathway to being a healer and a teacher of the world by committing to your own healing journey of overcoming, initiating yourself into the tools, the techniques that you will discover by committing to your own healing journey. And then you can share those things with others. New moon in Libra this next month with Venus and Mars in Libra is about show and tell. What do you want to bring to school today? What do you love? What do you cherish in your heart? What do you want to share? And don't worry. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to impress everybody in the world. You don't have to be everybody's best friend. These groups and these formations are about connecting souls that you are intimate with, that you can feel safe sharing with. What are we bringing to show and tell today? And it can be different every day. And it can be an experiment. This next month, beginning with the new moon opposite Uranus, is an experimental time. It's not a pass or fail, right or wrong, reality, final judgment, and getting graded and then maybe going to heaven or hell type of reality. This reality is a journey of human exploration. This is an adventure of discovering what it means to be a human, what it means to be alive. And so take the plunge. Take the leap of faith. Take risks. Do something different. Reinvent something. Put it out there in the way you've never put it out there before. Even if it seems a little fringy. Oh man, I don't know. I've been raised in such a way to feel like if we're acting or behaving this way as partners, then we are in an unhealthy relationship because we don't have the same social duties and obligations, so on and so forth. It's an example of an old story. Let the social obligations and inadequacies and role identifications go. Redefine yourself. Liberate yourself. Reinvent yourself. Push the boundaries of the known. And in that way, we can expand into creative flexibility. We can form those intimate partnerships that make us feel safe. And a profound amount of healing can open up the doors to the next several years of deep, intense, necessary global change as we are all evolving out of the old paradigm and into a new one in the next decade. And it is deep, and it is intense, and it does seem like construction worker work, where we're coming in with bulldozers, tearing down the old, building up the new from the ground up, creating those frameworks and those structures, and that is the noble work at this particular time. So let those relationship dynamics evolve. Venus squares Pluto on October 27th. This is change, transformation, passion, intensity, us getting to the bottom of the barrel in our relationships, and by bumping our own unconsciousness up against another person's unconsciousness, that unconscious friction is the friction which makes us aware of each other's unconscious propensities. Because we can't see our own shadow, we can't see our own bottom of the barrel, we do have to bounce these things off of other people, and it can be intense. You know, we're going through the tumbler, we're being shaped, we're being polished. And this is an opportunity for us to love what is being polished. Love what treasure is being discovered. Love the journey of exploring the deep end and the mysteries of life. And then having the opportunity to share and really relish sharing and connecting with others in that deeper, more profound, more mystical, more intimate, and inherently more human way. As each and every one of us souls are children of God, are undefined essences in our core truth. And everything else is the dance, is the music, is the symphony, is the broadcasting and the telling of our own beauty, of our own truth, and the journey of our own collective healing of the past as we introduce new possibilities of what it means to be a human, what it means to be a soul, what it means to have a heart. And so in that endeavor, as always, I am wishing you absolutely all the best. Again, my website is at the link below. You can connect to me there for personal readings, workshops. And okay, I think that's all for now. And so until next time, much love to you and your beloveds. May we all bring peace, justice, and equality to the deepest level of our being. Namaste.